Yo, what's good guys, and in this video I'm going to be speaking about the next principle, the second principle, which is the law of correspondence. Okay, so we are connected divinely to this universe. So in the first law, which is mentalism, go check that video if you haven't seen it already. I spoke about how all is mind, and that is the famous quote from the first law, which is mentalism. So in this second law, which is law of correspondence, the famous quote from here is as above, so below, as within, so without. So I gave an example in the first video about how if you're in a gang, your level of consciousness will be in survival mode if you're out there in the streets, okay? It could be different based upon if you was higher up the food chain, but I'm just saying if you're a street soldier, for example, your main purpose is to survive. So your level of consciousness will be at root chakra level. Now, let's talk about as above, so below, as within, so without. So there's three planes and there's inner planes in between them. The spiritual plane, the mental plane, the physical plane. And if things are manifesting from the above to the below, whatever you mentally think about then manifests into your physical reality, vice versa. So if you're somebody, for example, in a gang, and you see reality to be based upon I must do XYZ in order to survive, that is because you have mentally taken this in through your perception of life. You then embody it as a spirit, as an aura, when you walk around town, when you walk around your area, you spiritually have this aura of I'm a gang member, I must survive, I must take control of this territory. And then in the physical plane, you take action based upon your mental and spiritual embodiment of being in a gang. So let me just say this, yeah, there's nothing wrong with the root chakra and the physical plane. There's no point being spiritual and mentalizing and internalizing things if you're not going to take action. I just give the example of being in a gang because manifestations happen faster being caught up only in the root chakra. Because if you're in a gang, most likely before the age of 21, depending how young you was in the field, you will either be dead or in jail. And these manifestations happen faster because there's a least amount of actions you need to take to be in the gang. It's shoot, kill, stab, kick, knife, whatever, selling drugs. So you are out there in the field taking action based upon only a small amount of things, which means your manifestations happen faster. Now, let's say if you want to manifest $1 million, this is going to be longer based upon events that needs to occur to bring this into manifestations. First things first, you need to mentalize it, which means you need to have the mental capabilities of how you're going to do this, which is in itself very abstract and very dynamic. And then you also need to take action. So thinking about how to make $1 million is easier than manifesting it, but even to make a plan, a strategic plan how to make $1 million is still going to be harder than it will be to do something like being a gang. So now let's say you want to materialize being a millionaire. Okay, what have you got to do? Let's say you want to start up a food delivery business. All right, so first you need to think about what type of food do I want to sell? How am I going to find my market? What social media platforms am I going to use to utilize getting business? How many vans do I need? How many trucks do I need? Do I need to do airship deliveries? How big will my team be? Okay, just by this, I've said 5 things. There's going to be many things because in between these 5 planes, there's going to be inner planes also within them. And then there's still more planes to go. So just by thinking about it in that concept, it's way more dynamic. And it means there's going to have to be way more actions, which means it's going to take longer to manifest $1 million than it will be to be a gang member. Okay? So remember, there's nothing wrong with the root chakra and the physical plane. It's actually great, but we must also not be stuck within the physical plane. We must also look above the horizons. The law of correspondence isn't just about this, it's also that we see this in many forms of reality. If you look at the universe, the world, we have what we call the Van Allen belt, okay? This Van Allen belt is very similar structurally to an apple, okay? The torus. That is also how our electrical magnetic field is. Our body is connected to the universe, to the ethers. So we are pretty much governed by these laws. And you'll see this also within nature. You see many structures that are very similar in nature, okay? So our world is based upon harmony, okay? And if the more you look into this, it's like the Da Vinci Code. Once you see it, you start to see it everywhere. You start to see the same schematics, you start to see the same patterns, you start to see the same forms of reality. So an example could be that there's 7 days in a week. There's 7 spectrums of light that we can see with our visible eyes. There's 7 musical notes. So let's talk about musical scales. I make beats. If I'm making a beat and it's in a certain scale, if I play a note out of key of that scale, the music sounds trash, it sounds off, you can hear it, okay? So everything has to be in perfect harmony in order to manifest something of excellence. So we have to be in harmony, in a perfect vibration in order to manifest something of great excellence or anything. Because also remember this, nothing really is good or bad, it just is. And this example is just one way of looking at it. It can be another way. It can be from the point of view that you ingest information from news, media, radio, your surroundings, your environments, the people that speak to you, and your outer reality is based upon what you've taken in internally. And let's just say, for example, there's a narrative saying that a certain type of person or people are like this, then your reality will show you this to prove it to be true based on what you think and what you see and what you materialize. Okay, so this is where mentalism is involved with this law of correspondence. Whatever you mentalize is an outer reality of whatever you see, okay, and vice versa, okay? So if you're able to understand this concept, then you're able to bend your reality. So for me, for example, I live in Thailand and I had a misconception of Thailand based upon what the media told me. So I was kind of wary about coming to Thailand because I was like, I hear about all these crazy stories and things of this nature, and it actually put me off wanting to come here. And then I came here with an open mind and I saw that this place is the most peaceful place. It's more peaceful than my surroundings that I was living in back in London, okay? So this is how the media can change your reality and warp your perception of life, you know? So being open-minded to this concept will then be able to change your reality, okay? So this is it. It's our outer world experience is very much influenced by our inner world experience, and that is how life is manifested. So in order to manifest with purpose, we must subtract and remove all negative connotations of whatever we see to be true. And that is how you get outside the box. That's how you live outside the box. Removing any concept that you don't have a full grasp on based on a warped reality. So I was saying that I was scared to go to Thailand based upon what the media told me. So what vibrational level was I at? I was at fear, right? But in London, there's a lot of things that go on, a lot of violence and things of this nature, but I'm not scared. Why? Because I am comfortable in being uncomfortable in the current settings that I am in. Once you get out of your comfort zone and burst that bubble, you then become comfortable in that unknown territory too. until you burst it again, until you keep on bursting your comfort zone. So that's how you can look at things, and look at how fear almost stopped me being able to live in a beautiful country, go to the beach wherever I want, and things of this nature. Fear can literally warp your reality, and you will never see the true secrets to the universe and see the true divine beauty of this universe. You know, it's a blessing to go around the world and live your life with no fear. But if the media tricks you to not go see the world, that is based upon your mind, that is based upon your warped reality that has been given to you to make your own reality in order to manifest the great things you want in your life. There's no such thing as coincidence. There's a narrative that is out there that tells you that everything is random, Big Bang Theory, things of this nature. But when you read a book like this, you then start to connect the dots that there's no such thing as coincidence, okay? So this is why this law is very powerful. There is nothing new under the sun. The technologies that we use is based upon our human system. There's cities that were built just like a motherboard is built for a computer, okay? The computers are based upon our brain, okay? AI is proving this to be real. That's why they're getting better and better with making AI, because they are able to replicate this system based upon the tree of life and things of this nature, because it is a schematic to the universe. You could see someone to be successful, but the only way you see success is based upon the fact that you've got to backstab and put someone underneath the bus and do things along this nature, because society has told you that that's the only way to success, okay? But your perception of success can be warped based upon what the media tells you what success is. So if you're able to say, boom, I want a successful life, and I don't want to have to do it through being in the spotlight, then all you need to do to change that reality is go see someone who does it as an example, to see that, oh, it is possible to do this without having to sign a contract or be governed by some kind of intermediate or medium that promotes you having to do bad things in order to manifest things on a higher plane. So just change your content, okay? So this is what I do. I watch other people that I see are an example of who I would want to be in whatever way that is to be to me, and I'm able to say, cool, I can be a living example of that, okay? So I can channel this reality, and this is it really. And your internal mind literally brings synchronicities, manifestations based upon what you think. And I live this to be true. Like I said in the previous video, I said I never wanted to do a 9 to 5 from the age of 16, you know, and this was something I never did. I've worked jobs, but I've never done the traditional job, okay? And then I did try doing a 9 to 5 based upon my dad giving me a job with someone he knew, and I worked in Canary Wharf for 3 months, and I got another gig to be on a film, okay? And that was because my reality was based upon never doing a 9 to 5. When I was working in the office for 3 months, my mind was elsewhere. It was like, I can do better than this, you know? And then of course, my reality had to show me its true intentions and give me a job doing something that I like to do, which is film, media, music, anything creative is my real true me. That's not my ego, that's my actual spiritual alignment. So the universe can only show you this based on what you internalize. So again, you could be doing 2 things, but it could be a different reality. You could be working somewhere, but actually your heart's desire is not actually in that job. You may get signs and synchronicities to do what your true desires are, but because you're still stuck in the physical plane of being told just to pay your bills, live month to month, check to check, and stay within these laws, these warped laws, not looking at the spiritual side and the mental side of you, you will not listen to it and you will stay stuck within this physical plane where somebody has governed your laws to tell you that in order to live a life of obedience, you must pay your bills, live month to month and check to check. You disconnect that side of you. So just see the mental plane, physical plane and spiritual plane as three versions of yourself, okay? And we have also versions of ourselves, our lower self, okay? So we can even see the higher planes like heaven, and you can see the lower planes like hell, okay? So you could actually be living in hell while still being in this physical plane. You know, that's heaven and hell exist on earth. So that's a way of seeing it. So it's like you must be calibrated to know, what do I want to do? What do I want to see? What distractions are warping my reality? A great component to manifesting is subtracting, believe it or not. You can't really stack on top of BS because it then manifests in a reality of randomness. But when you're able to subtract, there's no randomness. Everything is meaningful. Everything makes sense. Everything may not be perfect, but it's a way to get to the next step of wherever you are trying to go, you know? So this is how correspondence is spoken about from a mental, spiritual and physical plane. But this, again, is so interconnected with everything. This is connected with, there must be a balance to life. There's always a polar opposite, which is in other chapters. What you're going to tend to see in this book, that all laws interconnect because there's a divine paradox to life, you know. You may see it as like someone who says, you see it in people that say, oh, they're always telling somebody off. They're always like saying, boom, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be smoking, you shouldn't be looking at porn, you shouldn't be doing things of this nature. Then a story might come out that they were doing all these kind of things that they were scolding people for. Because when you put your attention to something, it also can manifest in you gravitating to that energy. So the best way to sometimes think of things is by actually just removing the thought altogether, you know? So a lot of people contradict themselves based upon this nature. They say one thing, but they're doing another because they have put themselves in that medium of corresponding to that or corresponding away from that. We manifest our own reality. The quicker you're able to understand this concept, understand this concept, and overstand this concept, the better you have a better grasp of your life. Because most people don't like to hear it, but they are a manifestation of their reality. When you're able to take responsibility based upon knowing this law, you then know how to navigate. I know, I can say personally, I lived a life where I was manifesting bad situations after bad situations after bad situations. And the common denominator was that I had a friend right next to me who was a negative person, and he was actually manifesting my reality based upon the stuff he was telling me and internalizing. And what I was internalizing from that. And you can have a strong mental mind, but that can also still penetrate your spirit. Once it penetrates your spirit, it then manifests in the physical plane. So this is it. Sometimes you may feel physically stronger than somebody speaking negative, but your spirit and your mental is actually less dense, so it's able to be penetrated. This law is immutable, which means it is unable to be changed in time. It is set in stone. So this is the only law I live by and respect. Anything that is man-made, yes, I may live within those laws, but I know they do not govern me. The only thing that governs me are these laws. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say for this video. Like, share, subscribe. If you haven't seen the first video, go check that so you can get a better grasp of what I'm saying. Let people know more about this. Maybe purchase this book. The link is in the description. And yeah, I'm going to be putting the playlist up here also so you can watch this in chronological order so you don't feel a bit confused with the information and it makes all sense to you. And with that being said, peace.